Hello everybody. If you remember that in last video we talked about how to write a small stopwatch to measure some time that is taken by small segment of codes. In that case we tested on this how the System.out.println will take time on performing its actions. So we wrote a small stopwatch for that and we tested on it. So I'll further improve this stopwatch which has been already created, but as a request by a friend of mine I will change the name of this, so I suppose it will be useful for you as well. So other than just going through this, yeah, it is better that I will go through. Here I can go and rename this package. I'll change it as to perf. So this will ask that whether to continue it. So by continuing it, now all the related things has been changed to com.perf. So now it's quite, I suppose, okay. So that day we add this precondition to the class, and I suppose that's the main thing. So now if you notice in here, what we do is we measure the time in milliseconds. But what if we want to do it in nanoseconds? Or what if we want to measure the time in minutes? Or sometimes we want to have a different format for the time representation. So at the beginning I will talk about how to measure the time using nanoseconds and milliseconds, since it was by default provided by the system class to measure those, get those values. But I'll show how to configure the stopwatch to do that. So let's make an enum class in here. Let it be, it has to be public, enum type. So we can have milli and the nano. Right. So when creating the stopwatch, I suppose we haven't created a constructor. Let me create one. So this is a default constructor which will be used on creating instances of the stopwatch. So now I will ask the stopwatch to provide the type, or else what I do is, since I have already made this public, so this is kind of a second version. So if I have made this API a public thing to be used, now I have been guaranteed that there will be a default constructor. But now it is not possible for me as my will to change the API. What I can do is I can provide an extension for it, some additional features for that stopwatch. So I will keep the default constructor as it is and have another constructor which take the type. And in the default constructor what I will do is I'll set the type of it as in this case I will call the same constructor and I will make the milli as the default. So I haven't been disagree with my earlier format. Now it is, earlier methods are still available, earlier constructors are still available, but I have make some internal changes so no one will get hurt. So what should I do here is I have to assign it to a local variable. So I have to make this private as well. Again I have another constructor, private type, the type. So right, so now in this constructor I will make this type equal to the type which will be passed as. Now how we change this the way of getting the milliseconds. So what I was thinking is to have a method in here which is abstract, which will pass a long value when asked on getTime. So where I put this implementation of it? So in here, what I will do is I'll provide the implementation as well as for this. And in the implementation of it, suppose the outer world doesn't have to know about this method. It is better it is be packaged, or sometimes it is better make it just keep it keep as it is, then it will not make an issue. So at the time of when it is asked for the milliseconds, what it will do is System.currentMillis. When it is nano, if it is asking, now it provides the nano time. And other than getting the time like this, what we can ask is, from the type we can ask to get the time. Right, so now this will be work as expected. Nothing has been changed, but I want to make this to have nano time. So this is what I have to do, the only thing. Right, but you see this the form, the unit of measure comes as milliseconds, but this is actually nanoseconds. So what should I do with this? So other than that, I have to have another method saying the type, what it is. So I have another abstract method, which will provide a string, which will say unit. In this case, it will pass milliseconds. In this case, it will pass nanoseconds. So at this point of showing the time in the toString, what we have to do is we ask the type to give the unit. Right, so now it's done. So when it is using in like this, so now it comes as nanoseconds. What if we want milliseconds? It is coming in milliseconds. I suppose the space has been a little bit there should be another space in here. So like this we can improve on the code that we have done. So now I have introduced a type to the stopwatch where you can measure the time using milliseconds or nanoseconds. And I suppose I was hoping to provide another useful modification on this stopwatch, and as well as you can get to learn how a project should be continued in Eclipse and those stuff through this tutorial. Hope to meet you in the next video, and thank you all for watching this video.